Before I start, I want to say that me and my girlfriend have been together since we were 14 and 15, and the events of the story occurred only 3 or 4 days ago. I also must admit that I know I was wrong for going on her phone. It's not an excuse, but at the time it was 5 a.m. and I had woken up with a panic attack from a dream of her cheating on me with, let's call him Josh, and I was still under the influence from what I had the night before. When I woke up, I saw her phone light up with a snap from Josh after coming in. I got anxious, so decided to pick it up. When I was on it, I decided that I would look at the saved messages between my girlfriend and Josh, as I knew Josh had a crush on her and was looking for a message of him being overly flirtatious or affectionate, and my girlfriend turning him down. Instead, I found multiple messages between them from 2019 sending each other love hearts and arranging to spend time together, mostly chilling at a common hangout spot for our age group in the woods. I also found 2 other saved convos that were bad. One was the 2 of them flirting over online images of Halloween costumes, sending pictures of revealing outfits saying, "I'd love to see you in that," etc. And the worst one was a conversation my girlfriend started complaining that I wasn't interested in opening up the relationship, which very quickly developed into her telling him that as soon as I allowed it, she would do everything with him. They proceeded to go on and lengthily describe what they would do to each other and compliment each other on looks or crankiness. There was also some other messages of her calling him hot and sexy when he fished for compliments. Before I had seen these messages, I had only been slightly nervous of Josh, just because of how close they were, even though he is a smaller than both of us, very skinny, greasy, social reject type. I'm not just trying to insult him here, just the image of a typical quiet kid. I confronted her with what I found, and we have a conversation or 2 since through tears. She said she's sorry, even though I only got the word sorry today. She claims that she did not remember it and that there was no feeling attached. I asked what happened between them, and she said that on a few occasions when Josh drank over the 2019 summer, they would exchange messages like these, but the ones I saw were the most severe ones by far. She said that nothing had ever happened between them physically and no pictures were exchanged. I'd be inclined to believe her on everything she says, as he is a very nervous boy, and from what I have seen, she loves me and she offered up some info about the messages that I did not know. My thing is, I don't know what to do or how to feel. I have also made a mistake in our relationship, which I regret majorly, but was less substantial than this, and I confessed minutes after making sad mistakes apologizing. I want to believe her that nothing else happened, but all the info I have is from the saved messages and from what she told me. He is also still in her top 4 or 5 best friends on Snapchat, even though she doesn't use the app that much. It's constantly on my mind because it doesn't feel resolved, so I cannot process it fully, as I don't know what really happened. I also don't know how she will react if I bring all of this up, as I have already asked all these questions once, and she would not consider this as a big of an offense as I would, so I don't want her to feel smothered and attacked in her own home. We live together with another couple. I am just a bit overwhelmed and looking for advice. I am not considering ending the relationship or anything, as I love her too much, and I am acting as if her word is true. Sorry for the essay, needed to get this out, as I haven't told anyone else but her that I found these messages. K Turbo 75 comments. First of all, she has to block all contacts with Josh and send him a message in front of saying it's over for good. Ultimatum her with so much saying hi to Josh and you are done. Have a heart-to-heart talk. Ask her all the tough questions, like are you still committed to this relationship? Do you love me? And are you in love with me? Tell her point blank there is no open relationship. It will remain monogamous, and if she is unhappy with that decision, then place a sign on the wall with an arrow point to the door. Your trust in her has been compromised, and she needs to tell you how she will fix it and keep her at her words. Set some boundaries, and anything outside these boundaries, and it's over. Also talk if you or her decide to want to be with someone else, that you will tell the other person, and the relationship ends, and she or you are free to do whatever or whoever you choose. Communication is glue that binds us all, especially in relationship. Spend at least one or so a day and have a daily talk, where all concern, issues, plans, etc. are addressed and solved. The user "I have done the work" comments. Hangs out in the woods, flirting. You were not interested in opening your relationship and saying they could do everything as soon as you allow it. Describing in detail what they would do together, she calls him hot and sexy. When you confronted her, no sorry from her until another confrontation. Then lied by saying she did not even remember it. Besides, there was no feelings attached. Sex has little to do with feelings, and neither does this. He is creepy, greasy, skinny, short, social reject. She offered up more that you did not know, which is a very common strategy when people lie. They think it improves their honesty to give out some truth, but all the rest is still hidden, and omissions are lies. She kept all this crap secret from 2019. Looking at all the above taken from your post, does it really seem like nothing more happened? More like she is just continuing to lie. And he is still very high in her socials. Really? How could you have been wrong in checking her phone? You did not invade her privacy. You invaded her shitty secrecy. Feel bad only if you had found nothing, but what you did find was her cheating. You don't have even a portion of the truth, and rug sweeping her cheating solves nothing. You need the truth or this will just continue. Can you stay with her knowing that it is worse than you hope it wasn't? But it was. Take a look at the Infidelity 180, find it on the web, then implement it. Also, look up why it actually works. I think you need to hear a bit more. Reconciling has to be done correctly, or it wasn't done at all. Rug sweeping infidelity solves nothing. She has to want to reconcile, and she had to be showing true remorse. Remorse is more than regret, shame, and guilt. Saying sorry is never enough. Remorse means she wants to do everything necessary to earn back your trust and faith in her, meaning you need to know what those requirements are, and a therapist will tell you as well as evaluate her motivations for cheating. And you can test her remorse by whatever or not she refuses or fails to do those requirements. Is she willing to take a polygraph test? Is she willing to rid her life of Josh? So far, not. Is she willing to answer truthfully all you ask of her? So far, not. Good luck to you. You're young and she's young. There is likely more of this behavior in her future, regardless of whatever or not you are in relationship with her. Try to break your puppy dog attachment to her. It sounds you are headed for a trip to Broken Heart Villa. You need to take her statement about wanting an open relationship very seriously. Sooner or later, she'll explore this option, whether or not you agree. Best of luck to you. So there's another submission. My ex now, 23 female, cheated on me, 25 male. After almost 3 years of being together, it's been about a year now and I am trying and sharing the story to finally move on, so if you decide to read the story, accept it to be a long one. First, a bit of backstory. We met through a mutual friend of ours and we instantly hit it off. When we first started talking, I was nearing the end of my Marine Corps career after my last deployment while I was home on leave. When I went back after leave, we talked every day, all day, and all she ever talked was when I would finally get out and be able to see each other on a regular basis. Finally, when I got out, we officially started dating and everything was going great. She got along with my family and I hers. About 2.5 years later, she asked me if she could get an online sugar daddy in a joking way. I just brushed it off, kind of annoyed. Another week later, she asked again, this time with a more serious tone. I just want to say that the girl I dated before her, I will admit I was the controlling type. Long distance don't go that relationship any good. It was 100% my fault. I would get worried that she was cheating while I was 4 states away, but I promised myself in the next relationship I would not be like that again. I told her I was very uncomfortable with it. Asked why she wanted to do this. She told me having to pay for college and other expenses was overwhelming her, and it would be nice to have extra income. She worked often, but I sort of got where she was coming from. I know I'm an idiot, and also really did not want to be controlling. I told her I'd be okay with it, but not happy about it. She was willing to compromise with me, seeing how uncomfortable I was, and asked me if I wanted to put rules for her to follow. I thought about it over the night and I came up with number 1, don't tell them her real name, no pictures of herself, do not add them on any social media. She asked me if I wanted to have access to her Kik account. I admit I snapped back at her stating, why when you know I am uncomfortable with this whole thing, I would want to see it all go down. She understood and it was never brought up again. Over the next 2 months, everything was fine and I either forgot about it all or my brain did not want to remember. And I made plans to propose to her. I even bought a ring for her. Before I could pop the question, I started noticing little things like her being buried in her phone and turning her phone away from me while we were laying down together. One night while she slept over at my apartment, she left her laptop open in my living room, and around 2:30 a.m. while she was sleeping, I snooped. Her Kik was open in one of the tabs, so I started scanning through the multiple messages and she broke both rules 1 and 2. Full nude photos, lingerie photos that I bought her, and started every conversation with hi, I'm her name. Needless to say, I was swimming. I noticed her FB was open in another tab. So I looked at the messages on that and found out that she broke rule 3 as well and even met up with at least 2 of them. She still claims that she never even kissed any of them. My ass. After seeing all of this, I just needed to leave. I couldn't be in the same room with her. So at around 2:45 a.m., I left my own home and drove before I noticed I was 4 hours away and the sun was coming up. Knowing she had an early class in the morning, she was going to blowing up my phone soon, wondering where I was. But I know she would have to leave my apartment soon, so I started heading back. I was right. She texted and called asking where I was. I never answered. I guess I left the laptop open in my rage because she texted me, I'm so sorry. I messaged up, can we please talk when I get out of class? When I got home, she was gone. I replied to her text, I need time, give me space. I started drinking heavily. Whiskey was my choice. I got blackout drunk and passed out. When I woke up, I looked at my destroyed apartment and just went back to sleep. This is already far too long. I'll make a part 2 if any of you want it. Sorry for being MIA since I posted the first part of this story. It still puts me in a bit of dark place, and as I said in the first post, I decided to write all this out to hopefully allow my dumb brain to put it to bed. In case this is the first time you're seeing my story, go to my page, it's too long to sum up. Where I left off last time is when I found out about her cheating. I ended up leaving my own apartment at 2:45 a.m. I did not return until the sun was coming up, and I knew she'd be out of my apartment. I immediately started to empty my bar chart glass of whiskey after glass of whiskey. I was in and out of consciousness for a few days, drinking until I passed out. Before all you'll berate me, I know it's unhealthy, but I just needed to be numb. About a week passed before I heard from her. She sent me a text that was the size of a Harry Potter book. Summed up it, said she is sorry, she deleted, blocked everyone that was talking to her, like that's supposed to make me feel better. She doesn't want to split and that we should try couples counseling. For me, it was over the moment I found out. I still loved her, but a different kind of love, not the type of a couple should have, but love like I hope you do well in life, but I don't want to see your face anymore. I wanted the breakup to be healthy, so I responded back, I am willing to go to counseling, but as of right now, we are both single. This relationship is over, but if you need this to be your closure, that's fine. She accepted, and a week or so later, we started online counseling. Thank God it was online due to COVID. I didn't think I could be in the same room as her. The very first 2 sessions were individual, and the therapist asked a simple question that kind of caught me off guard. What do you want from these sessions? my mind went blank. It took me a second to get the words out that I just want her to get the closure she needs so I can get over this relationship. To be completely honest with all of you, I don't believe in therapy. If it has helped you with whatever you're doing through, that's great, I'm happy for you. But I just don't believe talking to a stranger that tries to break everything down Barney style helps. Every Thursday for 3 months, we all would meet up online and just talk about the same thing over and over, and only twice that I recall the therapist brought up what had happened. We mostly talked about everything prior to when things started to get sour. That in hearing the excuses, I would get visibly mad according to the therapist, and she would ask me how I felt about what my ex had just said. I blew up saying all I'm hearing is excuses. We have had a dozen of sessions, and I have yet to hear why I was betrayed. We keep talking about how our relationship was before it all happened, but never when in mind I did not matter anymore. My ex just said she will never forgive herself for what she did, and that if I take her back, she will prove to me every day how sorry she is. I asked her how I was ever supposed to trust her again. She had the nerves to tell me. Unfortunately, I would just have to take the leap. I was dumbfounded when she said that. At a loss for words, the therapist decided to end our session there. At the very next session, the therapist told us that it would be our last session and that we just keep going over the same thing. I laughed at the thought of therapist just giving up, but we both agreed. About a month later, my ex and I had exchanged our belongings. She had one of my uniforms from where I was in the Marines, a few hoodies and other random things. I got a big box and decided to pack up everything she had ever given me. Clothes, Christmas and birthday presents, pictures of us together, anything that had a hint of her. I decided to put an engagement ring in the box too. I don't know why I did not just return it, but I wanted that sting of he was going to propose to really hurt her. She came to my apartment, sat down on my couch. I took the box she gave me to my bedroom and grabbed the box I had for her. I walked it out to her car. All I said to her the whole time was thanks. Once I put it into her car, I walked back inside and left her there. Over the last 3 years, she has tried to contact me, but I just ignore her calls, texts, and messages. I tried in this relationship, I really did. I worked on my problems I had in past relationships to try and become a better partner. In my past relationships, I was a bit controlling due to distance and having been cheated on before. So I loosened the reins and it blew up in my face that I cannot just find the happy medium. To everyone that made it this far, thanks for reading and the comments on the past post. Also sorry for not responding to everyone. If you take anything away from this post, if your partner is going to do sex work, you need to have a crazy amount of trust. And if you're the partner that's doing the work, if your significant other sets out ground rules, have the respect to follow them. I know you guys are reading this going, what the F, you're an idiot. In the moment she asked me, I had that crazy amount of trust in her to respect me. But of course, hindsight is 2020. If you're in a situation like mine was, tread carefully. Thank you again for reading. AP replies to the comments. Wonder Typical 9962. Did she ever admit to the 2 guys were only ones, or there were more? Did she admit to full-on sex with the 2 guys? She never has told you why she broke all the rules. OP. She did not say it was just the 2 of them or not. I made the mistake of saying all I knew in the first session in therapy her and I had together, so I doubt that she wanted to admit anything I did not know. I seen the proof in pictures that they had sex they shared back and forth in messages. All I heard was excuses, not a reason. She did what she did. At this point, I don't care why anymore. If she could do that to me after 3 years, it just showed me her true character. And although at times I miss what we had, I know there is going back to someone that can be so heartless. Wonder Typical 9962. I was married for 25 years. I finally caught her. Went for full divorce. I've ghosted her since the day of divorce. 20 and counting, life is so much better without her. She's still doing what she did to her husband.